V-Rising just got a massive update from multi-storied castles to insane bosses. Here's 10 reasons you should play V-Rising. Number 1, unlimited customization. This game has numerous options for personal expression in the form of character creation, weapons including legendary weapons, so many spells to choose from and gems to customize them even further, rare hats and capes, huge castle creation all the way from where you build it down to the lighting and carpets you use. Speaking of castles, we can get into number 2. With a new update, you can now have multi-level castles up to 3 floors, and let me tell you, they are glorious. And it's not just for show. Making rooms increases the speed and efficiency of your machines. I mean, even a good garden can be important to have. There are rooms like the workshop, the forge, crypt, alchemy, and jeweler, and more, but while we're on the jeweler room, I'll go ahead and segue into number 3. With the new update, there are now magical gems that allow in-depth customization of your spells. Some are just basic numerical increases, but some change how the ability functions entirely. Here's some of my favorites. This blood gem gives me a shield and movement speed on top of the attack speed and healing the spell already gives me. This gem for the illusion dodge gives me 3 stacks of phantasm, which is a little too much to explain in this video, but trust me, it's really good. These are fantastic for making a very unique spell build, but if you're more of a hands-on fighter who prefers swords or axes, or maybe you want magic and swords, don't worry, V-Rising has you covered. Number 4, legendary weapons. These are rare drops that you'll find broken, but as you progress you'll find a way to fix them, and once they're fixed, they'll function as enchanted weapons offering different magical effects. These axes right here are a more straightforward set, but these weaken whoever I'm hitting, like a true vampire barbarian. This scythe hits people with lightning in a big swing, and these guns apply a chill when I fan the hammer. Number 5. Speaking of guns, there are currently 9 different weapon types, which include maces and axes. Where normally these would be just gathering tools in other games, in V-Rising they're perfectly viable to use in combat. But the 2 new weapons are greatswords and dual pistols, and let me tell you, I did not realize how much I needed to use pistols until I tried them. And don't even get me started on the greatsword, it's my favorite. Aside from the very customizable aesthetics and playstyles, we get into number 6, the game itself. This game has 51 bosses, and none of them are reused. That's right, all 51 of them are unique fights, and personally, I love these fights. They're all amazing, they're very fun to learn and fight out, especially when you're too stubborn to try a different playstyle, so you go again and again and again until you finally get it. And that's as close to heaven as this unholy creature is ever going to get. Which leads me to number 7. You're a vampire. You may have some adverse opinions about vampires depending on how you feel about Twilight, but these Nightwalkers are different. First off, the sun is a big no-no. Early game you'll catch on fire near instantly, but even later game, the longest I've ever stayed in the sun before catching on fire was 15 seconds, and that was with an insane amount of buffs, so it's not very practical. Well, if that's a pretty big drawback, let's talk about some of the buffs. 1, you're a spellcaster. 2, you're a strong fighter, and these combined gives you my favorite class in any game, a spell sword. But your combat abilities are not the only benefits. You can transform into a wolf, a bear, and a couple of other forms and powers that I won't spoil for you. And depending on who or what blood you drank last, you'll get buffs to your character. If you're like, wow, that's a lot, don't worry, there's more. You can also use your presence to dominate a human, which is number 8. Number 8. After you dominate a human, you can take them back to your crib, stuff them in a coffin, and turn them into a loyal, mindless servant. You can make them gear and send them out on quests to get you resources, and if they're home, they'll also protect your house. It's a very nice vibe to have your obligated homies walking around your castle. Makes the place feel a little more lively. But don't worry, if mindless servants aren't your vibe, then number 9 might be right for you. Number 9, multiplayer. You can have a server full of people. The cap is 40, which is way more friends than I have. And if you don't want to deal with that many people, you can always rent a private server or run a dedicated one from your PC and just play with your friends on your own world. Play as a clan or all play solo and meet up for fights, or don't. The choice is yours. I personally play almost exclusively on PvE because I think it functions a little better, and I don't ever want to have to worry about getting reset when I'm offline, as I have PTSD from ALGY. But if PvP is your style, then you're gonna love number 10. Number 10, PvP servers. There are numerous PvP servers in 2 different categories, Duo and Standard 4. These limit the amount of people that can be on each team, either to a max of 2 or a max of 4. And you can play either of these categories in 2 different modes. Normal, otherwise known as non-merciless, which lets you keep your weapons and armor on death and prevents your castle from being completely destroyed. Repairs are free, but what they steal from you is not. And the other mode is Merciless, which is a hardcore PvP mode with full loot drop and your castle can be wiped completely. If PvP is not your style, but you don't want to invite friends to play a PvE server, you can also just play solo or join a friendly community server. Whether that's just for normal PvE action or you want to role play with the community has you covered. I love this game so much. I actually happily bought the Founders DLC just to support the devs, but was really happy with what they gave me with it anyway. And if you're watching this video around the release of this update, then it's on sale right now on Steam, so go check it out and let me know what you think. Until next time.